Thank you, friend. Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. Now, this past week, we said goodbye to Hanukkah, a celebration that illuminates Jewish life, existence, struggle, a celebration that brightens and drives away darkness everywhere the world over, wherever a menorah is lit. It's a story that recalls the unlikely victory of the physically weak over the strong. But the physically weak were spiritually strong, and the spiritual strength will always prevail. And I know you all have spiritual strength. The more than 2,000 years of lighting the menorah for Hanukkah is a testament to the triumph of freedom over oppression, spirit over matter, light over dark. And we seem to be constantly in that battle. And as it ended, another year ends and a new one begins. The inexorable movement we try so hard to control instead of just enjoy. Let us say goodbye to this past year now and hope for a better one. Times like this, I think of the 13th century poem by Avraham Chazan Gerondi that says, "Let the year end with all its curses. Let the new year begin with all its blessings." Now, many do not know how to take each year, so let me suggest that we hold lovingly in our thoughts those who suffer from tyranny, subjection, cruelty, and injustice. Let us work every day towards the alleviation of their suffering. May we recognize our solidarity and understanding as instructed in the Torah with the stranger, the alien, the outcast, the downtrodden, abused, and deprived. That no human being be treated as other. That our common humanity weaves us together in one fabric of mutuality, one garment of destiny. May we pursue the biblical vision of peace, that we might live harmoniously with each other side by side, respecting differences, cherishing diversity, with no one exploiting the weak, each living without fear of the other, each revering divinity in every human soul. May we struggle against institutional injustice, free those from oppression and contempt, and as I implore every week, that we act with purity of heart and mind, that we despise none, defraud none, hate none, that we cherish all. We honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. And I also implore every week, may all people know peace in this year. May we nurture in kindness and love everywhere. And while the spiritual symbiosis of all living beings still too often remains hidden, we can be elevated to that lofty height at which humankind becomes one with the totality of life, even with vegetation and inanimate existence, as we were so long ago. May it be your will, O Lord our God, that this new year be a peaceful year for us, for all the world. And may it be your will, O Lord our God, that we be blessed with all we need in the new year. May it be your will, O Lord our God, that we be blessed with happiness. May the new year be filled with an abundance of blessings. May the new year be filled with love and peace. May the new year be a good year for us all. Now, if you didn't get a chance to celebrate the new year enough, of course, coming up on January 29th, there's another new year with the Chinese New Year entering the year of the snake. And snakes, unlike Caw in Jungle Book, have actually always been symbols of wisdom and transformation. Trust in me. Just in me. Shut your eyes and trust in me. You can sleep safe and sound, knowing I am around. Trust in me. But for now, may our hopes, dreams, and wishes come true, and remember the words of the great poet Rabbi in his poem about days gone by, the most popular song at New Year's, of course, a poem that symbolizes reunion, not parting. Should old acquaintance be forgotten and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgotten and old land sign for old days gone by, my friends. A wonderful year to each and every one of you and everyone you touch. Now, we honor the sacred times, and changes in years do mark sacred times to people, even though this is the only one that does not correlate to an astronomic event such as a new or full moon or an equinox or solstice. It once was known as Circumcision Day because it marked the 8th day after the birth of Christ was pegged to December 25th. And of course, the book of Ecclesiastes and the Birds and Pete Seeger tell us that there is a time for everything. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. And it was time to say goodbye to another year. And there's truth to that old saying, tempus fugit, time flies. Hanukkah's over, the winter solstice is done, Christmas is done, the new year has come and gone. We're on the second last reading of the book of Genesis. Time flies. And the older you get, the faster it seems to go. Now, in a couple of weeks, we will begin the book of names, Shemot, in which names play a dominant role. We know it better as Exodus. Perhaps that gives you a different clue as to what it's about. But the Exodus story is actually secondary. The names are the real story. But it's hard to compete with Moses and all that he goes through. And we're going to examine them when we read it. But names have been quite significant to date in the Bible, throughout the whole book of Genesis. We will look at a name today that has ripples that run throughout history. And this reaffirms that the Jewish Bible did not smooth out the human foibles of its characters. Some are admirable, some not so much. It's commentary that tries to explain the good and the bad. We've been given a light through which to see and think for ourselves. Commentary is good, but use it to supplement your own reading, your own conclusions, and don't be afraid to offer your own comments. Now, the great German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once proposed that God was dead, but that's not true. God's alive, all around us, although we often do not notice. I was reminded by a dear friend, we see the most light on the darkest nights. And it doesn't get much darker than these days, when menorahs are overturned, vandalized, destroyed, when terrorist attacks on Jews and the symbols of their faith have become the accepted norm. Perhaps it always was, and we just pretended for the last little while that we were decent, loving people, tolerant, understanding, helpful, and in a true shared fellowship of mankind. Truly horrified by the past, and knowing never again meant never again. What was once taboo is no longer. Even our so-called friends become complicit. The UK issued a Hanukkah message wishing celebrants a happy Hanukkah by writing Chag Hanukkah Sameach from left to right instead of right to left, with all of the words spelled backwards. No one even cared to make sure that their platitude of greetings was even spelled properly. We must take steps to stop this rampant anti-Semitism and disregard for Jewish rights. These are countries in which freedom is sacrosanct, in which other people may practice their religions in peace. If this is not stopped, further horrific events are coming. When no freedom for hostages and no true condemnation or consequences take place, the message of encouragement is clear. Taboo is no longer taboo. But at least we still welcome all as we gather and share and celebrate. Not just us, but the entire Jewish community the world over. Like when we take time to honor and pray and observe as a community, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith. Any and all faith, because we do accept. Love, any and all love, because we are a fellowship, a true chavura. As we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes, unites us all in this community, house of spirit, Beth Ruch, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together we are individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, do go ahead. Invite everybody you know. Physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hinei Matov, come together. Hinei Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'menayim. Shevet achim gam yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. And we support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. And goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. And it's goodwill, energy, light that we send to help heal those who need it. Healing and renewal for everybody. Blood through space and time. Finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam, that's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And you may be calling out the name in your mind of somebody who really means something to you, who's not used to having their name called out, not realizing they're thought of. And a part of the healing of the world is when we send these thoughts and energy for health, renewal, and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere, and special thoughts and prayers for those in need of assistance, which is why we do this prayer as a healing prayer. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them, because we want health, recovery, good life, energy for everybody around us. And let's continue to send healing energy for the hostages still held, still languishing in their pit of despair. Let's demand their freedom for those close to us. For Pal and Carson, for Alan, for traveling Callie celebrating a wonderful birthday, Bill, for Amin and Rose, for AJ and Gabby, Trevor and Jess, for Myra and the Builder, for Snoopy and the Elf, for Dave and Sabrina, for Maria and Paul, for Pam and Richard, for Marlu, for Lucy, Polito, for Pinky and Gloria, for Winston and Inura, for Hope-filled Alana, Johnny and Fern, for Kathleen, Mina, Carla, for Charles, Maria and John, for Doria, Connie and Ronnie, for Maya, Tally, for Nina, for Danny, for all those suffering and in need. And let's not forget to include all the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere. For everyone you know in need, my friends, for the whole world, and my dear sweet bee. It is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Shabarach, Avotenu, Makor Chabracha, Umotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed, because this is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Misha Baruch, may He who blessed, because all healing's a blessing. So let's all send and receive healing, renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now this week we begin the wind-up of the book of Genesis, the one that began with creation and ends with the total fall of man, as we read, Vayigash, and he approached. Now this is the great reveal of the Bible, and possibly the most powerful two Hebrew words are spoken, as Joseph tells his brothers who he is, and invites his family to come survive the worldwide famine in Egypt, where they will be given great privilege, being the family of this man, second only to Pharaoh. Nobody knowing that this would set a 400-year period in place, where the family of Jacob would become a great and powerful nation, and enslaved until Moses comes to free them. Have you ever wondered why Parshas begin at odd moments? This week's begins right in the middle of a scene from last week. It really makes you wonder who edited this. Genesis 44:18. And Judah went over to him and said, Please, my lord, let your servant speak something in my lord's ear, and let your anger not flare at your servant, because you're like Pharaoh himself. Well, the split in readings occurred hundreds of years after the final drafting of the Torah. During the Babylonian Talmudic period, it was decided to divide the Torah into 54 readings for it to be completed on Simchat Torah, the celebration of the giving of the law every year, which I'll be celebrating this year on the other side of the world. And the cycle is 54 weeks to cover the weeks in a leap year, which is why certain readings are doubled in non-leap year years. Now, logic and story did not come into play when they broke this thing down. And therefore, you're going to find some readings are short, some are long. So just enjoy each one, for each one offers you something. Now, Judah knows he is speaking to the second most powerful man in Egypt. That's all he knows. We last saw Joseph set up his brothers. He accused them all of being spies. There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. With every move he makes, another chance he takes. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Now, he forced them to go back home and not return without bringing their missing brother, Benjamin. And in order to do this, he held Simon, one of the other brothers, as hostage to ensure their return. He knows they're not spies, but they don't know that he knows. You have this big, huge, mistaken identity thing almost going on. And the brothers go home and they report all this to their father, who in his inimitable way, Jacob does not send them back to free his other son until again they are out of food. That's when he's finally prepared to send them back. So what if another of his sons is held as a hostage? And they do not know how Joseph, the great lord of Egypt, who they do not know is Joseph, may be treating him. Poor Simon. But Simon was certainly treated far better than today's hostages. The brothers convince Jacob that they have to take Benjamin with them. They return to Egypt. They're waiting to see Joseph. He watches the interaction of the brothers, as he has done each and every time. And he himself wants to know what they say. And so while they he accuses them of being spies, he's spying on them from the wings of his palace. I look from the wings at the play you are staging, while my guitar gently weeps as I'm sitting here doing nothing but aging. Still my guitar gently weeps. He watched them as they were tormented by their fears, knowing they did not know him. They wouldn't recognize him. They would never suspect who he is. They knew the boy that they sold. But he, like they, has been aging. Now he was the man who they did not know. But what you're going to see next week is the brothers all aged physically, while Joseph aged physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, as do all of you. It was a display of family dynamics of dysfunction. But things are not necessarily what they seem, and isn't that often the way. Genesis 45:1. And Joseph could not hold longer himself in check before all who stood attendance upon him. And he cried, "Clear out everyone around me." And he wept out loud, and Egypt heard, and Pharaoh's house heard. Now that's a hell of a weeping. It also tells you how close Joseph is to Pharaoh in both proximity and in relationship. He can weep, and Pharaoh and his house hears. Now some actually believe it was simply another part of the palace. Too many teardrops for one heart to be crying. Too many teardrops for one heart to carry on. You're gonna cry 96 tears. You're gonna cry 96 tears. Now, we're now at the great reveal of the Bible. And then Joseph, who has been somewhat aloof from his brothers, he turns and he speaks to them in their own language. Each time with them. It's been 3 times. He has spoken to them through an interpreter only, not giving away that he actually understood what they were saying. So all the things they said that they thought he wouldn't know, he knew. But now he tosses a 2-word bombshell at his brothers and he says, Ani Yosef. I am Joseph. Boom! A karmic ripple one can still feel, reading it thousands of years later. Joseph said to his brothers, I'm Joseph. Is my father still alive? And his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified in front of him. The curse of Jacob has infected all of his sons. They feel only fear. Can you imagine the scene? The fear would have been palpable. Genesis 45:5, and he said, I'm Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. God has sent me before you. 2 years now there's been famine in the heart of the land, and there are yet 5 years without plowing and harvest. God has sent me before you to make you a remnant on earth and to preserve life, for you to be a great surviving group. So it's not you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me father to Pharaoh, and lord to all his house, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Joseph saw the pattern of events in the karmic unfolding of destiny. It was not the brothers who did anything. It was God who sent them to Egypt in preparation for saving a nation. He could have held the kind of anger and negativity that Jacob held his whole life. But he took after his uncle Esau, who mastered the art of forgiveness. And friends, you can too. Use this season of miracles. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. See them as opportunities for learning discernment and patience. Forgive those who've hurt you. Remember, your spirit is forgiving and a compassionate one. Let it out. Now, the Bible tells us that from slavery, Joseph has become father to Pharaoh. That's a more powerful statement than you can imagine, but we would have to rewrite some history to explore that, and it is an exploration worth pursuing because we love history. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light. Continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, an end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we're a community. We learn together, we celebrate with each other, we love each other, we share this ride together, men and women equally. So let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive. Learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life and tell those you love that you love them. Now examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our Kavanaugh, cause, our effect, everything's linked. And you always have time to forgive and be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate. Because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because love is always in front of you. And work to be present in the body. Expand your heart. Quiet your mind. Because the deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness, in your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart. So we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone. Someone will always be there for you whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief, and never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other. We're each of us trying to find love, acceptance, and support, and we all have or could have that special someone in our lives. So find them and tell them what they mean. You're never alone on your journey. And listen to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they, whatever, talks to you. And remember, your connection to God and all he has created in body and soul, it's a part of you, it's a part of me, it's a part of all of us, it's a part of everything around us forever. Listen to his voice, he's always talking to you. And go into this new year with hope and with love. Ding dong, 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 ding dong. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring in the new, my friends. Now, thank you all for joining me. Have a great week. I'll see you all very soon as we celebrate more of the miracles of life. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.